Hello, class. We're almost done. Welcome to week 7. So it looks like this week we're supposed to be working on writing a grant proposal, which that sounds like a lot of fun. Um, Matter of fact, I never even considered this aspect of the work that we could do. And so when I got into it this week, I dove in pretty strong with an idea. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually pursue it because it seems like a really great idea. So this week we're working on the grant proposal. I chose to work for the Texas Historical Foundation. Um, this will be a grant proposal to create a rotating stage at the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame in Waco, Texas. So I chose this for a particular reason because when I was a young person and my grandparents took me to Disneyland, one of my favorite attractions was this stage that rotated around. If I'm not mistaken, the stage sat there and you rotated around. I'm not, proposing that. That's kind of extreme. However, on a similar note, they have one in Tombstone. If you've ever had the good fortune to go to Tombstone to explore that Wild West town, they have a little diorama that spins around while a narrator tells a story. So somewhere in between those two is what I'm thinking in my mind. Uh, a much larger scale than the one in Tombstone, not quite as big as the one in Disneyland. I developed an expense structure for what it might cost to include, like you would in a grant proposal, to include hiring a narrator. It doesn't need to be somebody really famous, just somebody with a good, narration voice. Maybe somebody off Audible. There's some really great narrators on Audible, and they're not that expensive. So a more affordable approach there. So then also I found, and I'll post this in the link or in the, under the abstract with the sources, rotation.net. They have, it costs like $10,800 to build this rotating stage. Uh, Obviously, there'd be some modifications where you'd build like these diorama scenes that I have planned in my mind about the Texas Rangers. First one, maybe the first scene, has something to do with Stephen F. Austin's private police force in 1823, which was the beginnings of the Texas Rangers. Then 1836, a little display with narration about how they were the border guards of the Frontier Patrol. And then in 1846 to 1848, they were like special forces, frontline troops in the war between U.S. and Mexico. And then, of course, they after the Civil War, they were like a prairie frontier lawmen that held the peace. And in the 1910s, 1920s, they fought gangsters literally. In 1935, their professionalization, where they became like Texas's version of the FBI. So all of these little scenes can be created on this rotating stage with this cool narration. Something like that is very theatrical, and you could charge money. I mean, when you go to Tombstone, I think it's like 10 or $20 to get into this little diorama. And no offense to them, it's kind of cheesy. It's a little cheap. It was done in like 1950 or something. It's so if we had some kind of much more modern thing like that, you could charge the same amount at least, and that would definitely be a huge attraction to bring in tourists and be a huge fundraising dynamic, right? So the cost of the creation operation would be in this grant proposal, as well as the project fundraising potential, and also be great, Texas history to go over. So what I developed here, and I'll hurry up and finish this up, is write a strong cover letter, start with a short executive summary, introduce the organization, which in this case is the Texas Historical Foundation, write a direct problem statement, increasing traffic to the Texas Rangers Museum, being the goal and objective also, have the design, which I just laid out for you, and the funding sources and sustainability, that's what the grant proposal's for. So I hope you enjoyed my discussion this week. You guys have a great holiday season.